going on, everybody? We got a quick little Billboard breakdown. Hot 100 June 8th, 2024. Pink Skies, BAND4BAND. You My Everything. After Hours. We got our meal today. Cold, hard-boiled eggs. Let's get into it.
Hey there, I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse. And you know what? Thank God we got Zach Bryan this week, because otherwise it's kind of a mess. And this, it's Billboard Breakdown. I don't remember. But you know, it is a sort of week where I'm not that surprised there wasn't much activity. It's pretty normal in terms of fluctuations, all things considered. But I'm left feeling there should have been a bit more. Maybe it's tied to how album bombs don't really leave as quickly as they used to, especially if they don't have a ton of competition. But it felt a bit uncanny how all of Billie Eilish's new albums stayed on the Hot 100, or simply how much of Taylor Swift is still here. I'm not sure if it says anything in the moment, given that we are talking about A-list pop stars, but this has been a trend that's been lurking for some time, and I'd like to see how long all this lasts without major competition, especially as I don't see that next album bomb to replace them anytime soon. Maybe just a bunch of assorted singles. But in the meantime, our top 10, where I Had Some Help by Post Malone and Morgan Wallen, is still at number 1, and I gotta wonder if there's some tangible subtext lurking behind that title. Because, man, the industry really wants this to stick to the very top. The sales are good.
And the radio's going fucking crazy.
But this has seen one of the most aggressive radio pushes I've seen in some time.
Why,
they're
though?
gonna force this into public consumption as hard as they possibly can.
Good.
Mostly because right behind it is Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar at number 2, which is ruling streaming. It's not quite selling as well, not surprising for a diss track a couple weeks removed, but the radio gains have been substantially slower for an A-list act who has a cultural dance.
I mean, look, man, I'm just happy it got the number 1. Like, I feel like it going number 1 is just like, for 1 week I think that's good enough. I mean, I'll be happy if it went back to number 1, but I think it going number 1 just like proves like the stance. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder why Universal doesn't want to let their
it just kind of says everything.
Get bled out by the mainstream public. Although the way he's doing, he's probably going to do it to himself. Although, truth be told, $1 Million Baby by Tommy Richmond is chasing Kendrick pretty aggressively at number 3, with better sales and just a little behind on streaming and the radio. And on a similar note, a bar song Tipsy by Shabuzi
Everybody in the bar get tipsy
in both channels and is dominant on sales to go to number 4. A handy discount courtesy of the album release is
peeling
put this in a contender position.
The boiled eggs.
Probably not going to take the number 1. Then we got Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter at number 5, and yeah, she's got better radio momentum than the last 3 songs, and sales are decent, but she just cannot break through enough on streaming or build enough radio momentum.
The thing is, her global streaming is just, I'm pretty sure it's the number 1.
Pink Skies by Zach Bryan,
number 1, their debut streaming, not debut, global. Her global streaming is going pretty crazy.
Top 10. It's still kind of uncanny to me as someone who was reviewing him when he was independent in 2020, when the mainstream traction hadn't fully kicked in, but big sales and streaming, they're already here. Even if true to form, the radio's got no clue what to do with them. Then we have Loose Control by Teddy Swims holding at number 7, which has enough
That's
of a
still
function
here
on top of radio to sustain the losses there, especially if the sales were okay. But I think Too Sweet by Hosier at number 8 is gonna challenge, which outside of an iffy sales week, he's got real traction on both streaming and the radio. I can see positional gains. It wasn't enough to get over Beautiful Things by Benson Boone at number 9, which fluctuating near the top on the radio without much else, but it did hold over Lunch by Billie Eilish, which slipped off the debut to number 10. And where things get a little awkward, because while radio and streaming are strong, TikTok has decided they like birds of a feather more, and that could well hold up better streaming traction.
That's low-key base, bro. I'm pretty sure next week Birds of a Feather is gonna pass, because Lunch is gonna drop below Birds of a Feather. Birds of a Feather is gonna be, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be huge. Yeah, it's another one of those. This is like, look here. Look it up, sexy red. Where? Here. Look how well it's doing right now. There's a new single. Yeah, look where Lunch is, already at number 10, man. Crazy. But yeah, Birds of Fire is just doing way better
in the weeks to come, and that complicates any industry push considerably.
Which I'm not surprised. TikTok has been using the hell out of it. It's crazy.
a good problem to have. That naturally takes us to our losers and dropouts, the latter of which mostly point to Taylor Swift album cuts that were never going to stick long term, and the short revival of Spin You Around by Morgan Wallen. But the big story to me is that it was
revival.
A really
there was a
bad
revival
week from Drake, as his big recent co-sign 4BAND saw Act 2 Date at 8 exit the Hot 100. It's likely just going to scrape onto the year-end list. I mean, it's ruinous timing on 4BAND's part thanks to dropping in the middle of the beef, but the music being crap doesn't help matters. And it also continues into our losers, as from Drake, Family Matters slid down to 59 and Push-Ups fell to 91. Yes, Meet the Grants by Kendrick Lamar also hit 93, but that is a song that should not have lasted for a month on the Hot 100 anyway. Drake is purposely picking radio beats that could play there. It's not even saving him. So outside of that, and On One Tonight by Gunna falling to 99. The larger story is a fight between two album bombs. So let's start with Taylor Swift still seeing...
Sorry guys, I'm peeling the freaking egg, bro. This shit is so hard.
Who's Afraid of Little Old Me at 58, but Daddy I Love Him at 65, So Long London at 68, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys at 71, Florida with Florence and the Machine at 77, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived at 79, The Tortured Poets Department at 80, Love of My Life at 92, and The Alchemy at 98. But there is a story in how consistent Billie Eilish's streams have been, and while she did see losses, her entire album stuck to the Hot 100 for a second week, and not every song
I would never
saw
expect
losses.
that.
That says a lot. But working our way down from the top, Wildflower at 27, L'amour de ma vie at 34, Blue at 47, The Greatest at 50, Skinny at 53, The Diner at 62, and Bittersweet at 73.
Not too shabby.
You'd think there'd be a lot of gains or returns to fill in the gaps, but
Birds
truth
of
be
a
told,
feather,
it's kind of all over the place, as the only one on the latter is Too Named by Fuerza Regida at 100, and we really didn't need that one back. But it is evidence that regional Mexican sound still has some lifeblood compared to our gains where we had Gotta Only by Chris MJ and Floyd Menor still has traction at 32, playing to a lot of stale
32?
Outside of that, we got some country gains near the very bottom.
Is it 32? What? Is that high?
Playing to a lot of stale reggaeton. Chris MJ and Floyd Menor still has traction at 32, playing to
That's
a lot of
just
stale
at
reggaeton.
32?
That,
I didn't know it was going that crazy.
Near the very
The
bottom.
hell?
Off the Return, Wondering Why by the Red Clay Strays at 87. Wind Up Missing You by Tucker Wetmore rose to 78. We Ride by Brian Martin hit 69. And there was a big jump for Chris Stapleton with I Think I'm in Love with You at 49. With that Dua Lipa remix getting shipped to radio, I can see this being a sleeper hit this year. It's going to be interesting, especially as the remix is actually really great. Outside of those, Stargazing by Miles Smith got a jump to 51 thanks to streaming. Wannabe by Glorilla and Megan Thee Stallion looks like it's getting traction across the board, so it might be a proper hit and give Meg's upcoming album a bit of a boost, as her singles just cannot.
That's kind of sad, bro. Relying on fucking remixes for your album boost is kind of sad. I can't even lie, especially for Megan Thee Stallion. Like, it's kind of sad, low-key. Cannot lie to you.
Build momentum, and Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan finally got the space to rise up to 31. Radio
I got that predicted at number 12
due to lack of name recognition, but the
on the Hot 100 Challenge Billboard app.
Promising if she can keep that groundswell going. But anyway, we got a healthy enough list of new arrivals, so let's unfortunately start this off with number 96. Attitude by Don
Unfortunately,
featuring Charlie Wilson and Cash Cobain.
You know, this reminded me of? The beat reminded me of the fucking Drake song from For All the Dogs, where he had a woman just talk on the song for a minute and like 30 seconds in the middle of the song. Mind you, oh, bro, imagine Drake just kept being on that same beat. Oh, fuck, bro. That song had so much potential. If Drake wasn't a weirdo and put a random woman yapping in the middle of a song, that song would actually be. I'm pretty sure it's called Calling My Name or Calling Some Name or something. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, but this reminds me of that song, that Drake song. Since I got money, I got attitude. Can't be no broke, bitch, I might get mad at you.
So this was the sort of collab that I was actually kind of intrigued by. I don't really care for the most recent Don Toliver material, but pairing him with Charlie Wilson, that could be pretty cool. And Cash Cobain is on the come up right now. If he's got a song that can distract from that atrocious collab with J. Cole, that's all the better. Unfortunately, the buzz I also heard about this song was that it doesn't really work at all, although I think explaining why that's the case is kind of tricky. Starting off with the production, it liberally samples Charlie Wilson's ad-libs on the Snoop Dogg Pharrell collab Beautiful, a 2003 hit that I've never liked at all, mostly because of that painfully weedy mix, and especially that guitar. So
never liked that song?
It down to just the vocal ad-libs alongside
beautiful.
the more polished bassy drill groove,
I just want
it's a
you to
decent
know
idea, even if trying to add that frail
favorite
woodwind
girl.
keyboard melody doesn't really give the song much momentum or focus. But then Charlie Wilson comes in for the interlude, and he frankly blows everyone else off the song. He sounds great and invigorated, and oh wow, Don Toliver and Cash Cobain aren't even close to that level of intensity as they ramble through their flexing and talking about.
Look, I think it's alright. It's an alright song.
Some of this might have been helped along if the song was coherently structured. Don't bring in the bridge and interlude so early that Charlie Wilson doesn't immediately overshadow the following verses, but let's be real, it just feels like a mess. It's not a terrible one, just not all that compelling either.
Better than Bandit.
5, Your Place by Ashley Cook.
Standard blonde girl country song about a douche guy. Average. Saw it.
Okay, full disclosure, I was not familiar with Ashley Cook. Apparently she's on Big Loud. She independently released her debut in 2022, built enough traction to get signed, and then the album got re-released. Her sophomore album was last year and was 24 songs long, and yet I heard precisely 0.
She thought she was Morgan Wallen.
Not a good sign. And despite this being released last July, it's only now hitting the Hot 100. And listening to it, I think I get why. It's a pretty basic song about telling off some ex who's still trying to be involved in her life, that she needs space and her place is no longer his. Not a bad sentiment, but the execution feels kind of underwhelming to me. Pleasantly warm, modern country production with a few glittery electric guitar passages after the second hook. Not reliant on any obvious synthetic elements, but still feels kind of sterile all the same. And Cook isn't really that impressive or distinctive as a singer. Maybe it's the vocal placement being a little deeper in the mix, but she doesn't bring a lot of character beyond some general exasperation.
That's right. It's pretty mid. Can't lie to you.
That's appropriate for the song, but it's just not that interesting. I think I'm starting to understand why there wasn't as much buzz for her, so yeah, let's move on. Number 84, After Hours by Kehlani.
Kind of reminded me of Water. I don't know if he's gonna talk about the comparison. Maybe I'm just the only one here, but this kind of sounds like Water, just a little bit.
We're now coming up on Kehlani's 4th album, and I'm still not convinced their potential has been fully realized. Granted, a lot of that was due to issues I had with them continuing to work with Pop and Oak long after their production got stale, and thus seeing that Kehlani was working with some new people for this single, it was encouraging. A little less so relying on the very obvious Nina Sky sample from 2004, but at least I like that song from my high school years a little more, and I actually quite like the flip here. It's a nice foundation to structure that was bouncier grooves, the watery synths, and the choral vocal. So even if I think the vocal mix is a little bit slapdash, and they really could have done more to flesh out the rather limited fidelity of the older drums, Kehlani is game to bring a lot of energy for a basic but generally kind of steamy club hookup song where they're looking to take it to the next spot, the After Hours. Reminds me a lot of the breezy pop R&B that Tyla had on her album this year, but that might not be a great comparison for Kehlani, at least in terms of the obvious production.
What I say?
This song should feel a lot more lush than it does, especially going into the summer. Something closer to like Amore would be perfect. Overall, I reckon it's gonna work. I think this is good. It just should be better. And on that, number 83, The Craving, Jenna's version by 21 Pilots.
Fuck, I listened to the singles version.
I'd lay down and wait and hope she looks for me.
Okay, look, I didn't expect a 21 Pilots album bomb, especially for a project that's advertised itself
Imagine
as a
expecting one.
lore, even if that didn't really happen. But I was hoping we'd get more than this, the acoustic ballad version of a song for Tyler Joseph's wife, and not one of his stronger ones. I said this in my review of Clancy, it's no formidable. Hell, it's not even a tear in my heart. I don't think the arrangement does anyone a lot of favors. It's a very spare ukulele as the primary accompaniment. I've heard a lot of lightly twee relationship songs in this template, and outside of a slightly darker timbre in general, I can't say it does much to differentiate itself, especially as soon as Joseph dips into his falsetto and whistling. I mean, the writing's fine, I guess, trying to satisfy each other's needs, understanding that good intentions.
This guy thought it was John Mayer with that guitar in his hand.
Demons, so that some grace might be extended, especially as they're trying to ride it out with each other.
You are not John Mayer, buddy.
Deep feel of a
you would never be John Mayer.
Where they're trying to convince themselves that the embers of the passion and craving are still there. And while Joseph is hoping he doesn't take more than he gives, the balance still feels kind of unsteady. I don't know. I understand there's an emotional core here, but it feels very limp to me. I'm not a fan. Number 72, Si No Es Contigo by Chris MJ.
Boring reggaeton shit production. There you go. That's my review.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised that after Gotta only picked up traction more than I could have ever expected, we got more from Chris MJ. I should also not be surprised that it's not very good, with Chris MJ showing precisely zero distinct personality as he's stuck midway behind that lead whistling melody and the very clumsily mixed stock percussion. Kind of a shame because there are parts of this beat that I like. The lead melody has this gentle elegance that's pretty catchy, and when the percussion gets a bit more textured and sandy, it's actually rather quite pretty. But Chris MJ is such a gaping void of presence, and his horniness is not interesting. Although that line about asking to get taken advantage of by this girl in the second verse certainly had me raise an eyebrow.
Hey, I mean, I'm not even gonna say it.
I assume I'm missing something in the translation. It can't just be that. Overall, let me know if the remix on this brings someone interesting. Next, number 44, You My Everything by Sexy Red featuring Drake.
Bro, when I was listening to this on YouTube, why does this have 300,000 dislikes? That has to be botted, right? Guys, go to that video. It only has 50k likes and 325k dislikes. I was actually so surprised. Why does it have so many dislikes? I mean, like, I don't even know, bro. Do people like? I don't know. Maybe it's just because Drake is in it or something. I don't know. Maybe because Drake rapped over the BBL Jersey fucking song. I don't know, bro. But like 300k dislikes, really? That's quite much, you know?
It's incredibly annoying to be lumped among the people who really don't like Sexy Red, especially as I have reasons beyond bargain barrel sexism. I have no problem with her content, I just think she's incredibly limited in the execution, as her flow is not that good and I'm not seeing the higher ceiling. Now, reportedly her new projects seem to be getting more mixed reviews than some of the acclaim she got for Hood's Hottest Princess, with a lot of the most negative opinions being tied to this song. And yeah, I get it, because who the hell told Sexy Red that she should try and sing? And I thought she was a mediocre rapper. Her melodic flows
okay, but the thing, I can agree, the singing is shit. We can all agree that the singing is shit. But I feel like it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Because this song is meant to be played in the club, right? When you're in the club, you're not going to be listening to the direct singing, right? You're going to be hearing a bunch of people singing the same lyric. You know what I'm saying? It's club music. You're going to be listening to it in the club. So you're going to have a bunch of people singing along to it. You're not going to be listening just to the song. A lot of Sexy Red's music, it's not really meant to be. You're not supposed to sit down and fuck, I'm going to really focus on this. No. It's dumb shit that's playing outside very, very loudly with people dancing and twerking to it. That's the point of the music. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the singing, look, even if it is really, really is shit, I feel like it's I feel like it is kind of like a little bit of a troll. It is a little bit of a troll. It's troll singing, but it's also meant to have people sing the same lyrics in the club. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Off key to a frankly distracting degree. It sounds like something she would release as a parody or a piss take. And alongside that faux opulent melody, back to
I feel like she was trolling though. Like she was like high key trolling.
by Tay Keith's very metallic percussion, it's a rough fit. Then we get the content, which is trying to be more like a love song. Does anyone want that from Sexy Red? I'm sorry. Where I'm almost wondering if this is just a joke, because I don't buy any.
It is. It is. It is. That's really what it is. I feel like she was joking. Unless she wasn't, but I feel like this is more of like a joke. You know what I'm saying? Cause like, look, that's like, look, her whole image is being a fucking. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Being a fucking girl who goes to the clubs and just twerks on everybody. That's just how it is. That's how it is. That's her music, right? But I feel like it's a joke. It's a kind of a jokey club song about, you know, instead of, you know, having multiple baby daddies and fucking having multiple men on her roster, she is loving on one guy. It's supposed to subvert expectations while also being funny and jokey about it with the singing in the song. That's my opinion. Look, I don't like this song. No. I don't care for this song at all. I would never return to the song ever. I'm not defending it because I like, oh my god, this is the best song ever. I'm defending it because I feel like people don't understand that, like, it's not serious. It's not really that serious. It's just some dumb club stuff. That's just how it is at the end of the day. I feel like that's what people need to realize. That's what people need to realize about Sexy Red. Look, it's not music you're meant to really sit down and listen to. It's music you're supposed to play loudly in your car speakers while you're fucking on top of the car dancing. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is.
From her.
That's my take. That's my take.
Drake showing up as the guest star. And look, I get that Drake's trying to get ahead of the memes, win back the internet. Kendrick mocked him on Euphoria for standing next to Sexy Red. He thinks he sees two bad bitches. Drake plays into it and even grabs the AI BBL Drizzy beat to try to steal the thunder of that too. Play It All is a big joke, and while his flow is competent, it proves Kendrick's point, especially when Drake spends so much of his verse bragging about all the surgery he can buy this girl as he fucks her on other islands besides the Turks. It just exposes how unfunny the root of this joke is, in the same way that Way Too Sexy wasn't fucking funny 3 years ago. It's a very played out punchline to be so self-deprecating. The line that's most revealing to me in the verse is, "Why you love me, still a mystery." Because quite frankly, I have no idea why someone listens to this and think that Drake isn't humiliating himself with bad punchlines like, "I'm a turned librarian for you, I'm booking that shit," or "You think I'm a bachelor girl, I swear you ain't got your masters, but I stay breaking your back in the master bedroom." If you're making even the slightest implication about Sexy Red's master recordings in the double entendre, yeah, that's gross. You know what? If crap like this causes both these acts to quiet down for a little while, I'd be just fine with that. This sucks. Next, number 22, "BAND4BAND" by Central C and Lil Baby.
He's not gonna like this. I will bet my entire life savings he's not going to like this, bro.
In the years, the version of bribes, I'm really a threat. It's got to the point that I don't even care. I got jewels in a safe that I don't even wear.
You know, we didn't have to let Central C cross over, right? Put aside all the grime acts that the US ignores for better or for worse. Why is it this guy getting the big label push and notable cosigns from rappers who should know better, glaring right at J. Cole here? But fine, in the grand tradition of TDM recognizing its own, we got Central C and Lil Baby, and okay, you know, I'll say this, it doesn't sound as nakedly cynical as I was expecting. Central C and Lil Baby actually do trade bars on the hook, and the chalky UK drill production, it's pretty slick and well produced. That melody has some menace. The problem is that once you expect these guys to actually say something, there's very little here. They're competing at how much money they can.
You know what? I'm surprised. He actually said something positive about it. I'm very surprised.
Actually complaining that his luxury isn't as convenient as he'd prefer. I'm sick of that lane from him. And the most interesting thing that Lil Baby says amidst all the flexing is implying there might be a chance for he and Gunna to piece it up. Outside of that, I think the production might carry it, but I'm not going to care in record time. And finally, number 6, Pink Skies by Zach Bryan.
Days, your beams, your funeral was beautiful.
Never got Zach Bryan, never cared for Zach Bryan. I heard the song, still don't care for Zach Bryan. Look, I get it. I get that this is it's a touching song. It's a very touching song. But I'm never looking out for it again.
Looks like Zach Bryan's gearing up for the next album with the frankly excellent title of The Great American Bar Scene, and this appears to be the lead-off single that's getting the label attention. And I'm not gonna lie, if it wasn't from Zach Bryan, I'm shocked they'd be pushing this at all, because as a single, it's kind of an odd choice. The ramshackle acoustic interplay between the mandolin, banjo, and guitar, that blaring harmonica against the clattering drums, Bryan's husky and low-key singing with a little bit more feminine backing vocals, the mix peppered with the warm fragments of sampled atmosphere. It's a song that's built to feel like home with every rough edge, and that only accentuates the quiet heartbreak at the core. The kids are older, they're back for the funeral, where they're cleaning up the old family house, and the memories just come pouring back to hopefully obscure where some might be right now, be they yuppies or living rough. I mean, there's a lot of speculation that Zach Bryan is singing about his mother who passed away way too young, but honestly, it's still effective regardless of that personal connection. It's heartfelt enough that it sticks the landing in the atmosphere as a pretty solid self-produced Zach Bryan ballad. I'm not sure I'd call it one of my personal favorites, but the textures here are so appealing.
You know what?
I'm almost one.
Out of all the Zach Bryan songs I've heard, this is definitely my favorite. Definitely. I'm definitely my favorite, but like, it's just not for me really. But I definitely see why people would really love this song.
Over on the sound alone. Really damn good song. Check it out. And hell, you know what? Best of the week. Not like it was facing much competition, with the honorable mention going to After Hours by Kehlani. Worst of the week. Yeah, you know what? You My Everything by Sexy Red and Drake. That's a fucking disaster. It's beating out Attitude by Don Toliver, Charlie Wilson, and Cash Cobain, which the more I think about it, should have been a lot better. The pieces are there, they just don't assemble well. Next week, again, not a lot of album competition. Might just be singles fluctuation and oh dear, that new Eminem single. Stay tuned for that. But until then,
I totally forgot.
You're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with
Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you next time. W video, Mark. Yeah, this is Billboard Breakdown. I don't know what else to tell you. Go subscribe to Billboard Breakdown. Go subscribe to Special Boss for all my Twitter, Tumblr, DeviantArt, Tumblr, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere, bro. Threads. And follow me everywhere. My Twitter will be in the link in the description. And like this video. Like the original video. And yeah. Thanks for watching.